All right. Well, hey, happy Labor Day weekend, fellow Lodi High 91 alums. We're back here with Miss Gabriella Vitrano Bell. Gabriella, say hi to your classmates.
Hey there, everybody. Happy Labor Day weekend.
And Gabby, when I reached out to you earlier today, when you said you're poolside, we're running it back when it comes to the Florida connection here.
Yep.
So, so we'll go ahead and do kind of the usual gig in terms of going the old photo slideshow. And that'll be a prompt for us to kind of talk about, both life growing up in Lodi and where life is taking you 30 years later. So I told Gabby I'm going the mobile phone Zoom route here. So bear with us as we do the baby step technology wise, but let's go ahead and get right to the screen share and take it from there. So you may see my fingers here and there. My apologies in advance regarding that, but we're gonna get to it. So, all right, let's get those photos ready to rock. Okay, look at young Gabby here.
Yep.
Gabby, tell us what you recall of this photo, or just your general growing up as a young little one.
Yeah, that was we were still in Italy at that point. I don't think we came to the States yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely still in Italy.
So tell us the time frame for your time over there.
Well, I was born there, and then we came to the United States. I was just about 2 years old.
Okay.
We came and got the permanent visas, and we've been here, obviously.
Okay.
So
and where were you back in Italy?
In Palermo, in Sicily.
Okay. Now, my family likewise in Palermo. Were you in the town proper or one of the villages?
Tommaso Natale is where my mom was from, and my dad, I'm probably going to say it wrong, was from Mary. I say it wrong.
Yeah, Mary. That's right. Yeah, I've been to that place. I haven't been to the first one.
Yes.
Nice. And so so you were 2 when you came over. How about your sister?
My sister's 5 years older than I am.
Okay.
So she was 7, I guess. Getting ready to start school.
Right.
Because I was just about 2 when we decided to come to the America for life.
Any sense of what prompted your folks to make the trek over the Atlantic?
Sorry about the phone ringing. My aunt and uncle had come, and then they brought my grandparents over, and then they were like, "Oh, you have to come. There's so much."
Okay.
And all of my mom is one of 10 kids.
Wow.
All of her siblings migrated to the United States, except for her oldest brother. He stayed. So all of my mom's family migrated here. My dad's family is still all in Italy, though. Yeah.
Well, I suppose you still have an excuse to get over there. Have you found yourself making any trips during your childhood or beyond?
The last time we were there, or I was there, was in 2004. I haven't been there since. I keep saying on my bucket list, I got to get back. So I'll get there eventually.
Right. Yeah. Likewise, we're eager to get our kids over there sometime as well. Nice. Yeah. All right. So let's take a shot of the happy family here. Give us a sense of growing up with your parents and your sister.
Yeah, I think that's in Italy too, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, that might have been. We had gone back for a family wedding, maybe something. I don't remember really, but that's what I think. So I mean, my parents, like I said, typical immigrants coming with nothing. You know, my mom worked as a seamstress. My dad was a what's that called? Sheet metal factory.
Yeah.
Worked for years and years and years and years until the day they both retired. So we started out in Garfield, and then then migrated to Lodi. I think I started
Right.
school in Lodi when like fourth grade, I want to say.
Well, Gabby, I was not aware of your parents' occupation, but eerily the same as my folks, with my mom being a seamstress and my dad working at Pan Graphics, both in Garfield and in Lodi. So, boy, the Palermo plan was in full effect.
That's because they all, it's, oh, I know somebody, and come on in and get a job, and
Yeah.
that's what they did. So
Yes.
your
Yeah,
friends,
that's right.
they would all work in the same factories.
Yes, there's a negative side to who you know, but there's also a positive one where, when it's done correctly, that could certainly be a good way to live.
Yeah. So it was just very modest, very everyday family, nothing special.
Right.
Yeah.
And what prompted the move from Garfield to Lodi?
I think just at that point, we were living in a two-family house, Midland Ave. My aunt owned the house, and we lived on the second floor, and they were on the first floor. And at that point, my parents were ready to buy a house.
Right.
Wound up in Lodi, Pasadena Ave, and that's where we lived until the day to retire.
Well, so I'm trying to remember, Gabby, how old or what grade were you in when you made that move?
I was started fourth grade in Lodi.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I went. I didn't go to any of the public schools. I went to St. Francis.
That was the missing link, because I've been incorporating some middle school photos for the ones to which they apply, and I was trying to remember when you made the jump. So what prompted the jump from St. Francis to Lodi High?
Well, at that point, because Catholics, my parents, every Sunday, private school. My sister had gone to, when we were still living in Garfield, she was at Holy Name. She graduated from there, and then when we moved to Lodi, she actually started high school. So, ready to go to public school. Here you go.
Right. So your sister was the guinea pig.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, that's great. Excellent. Mm-hmm. All right. So speaking of which, let's talk about the senior year photo here.
When I had hair.
Oh, man. I keep saying we have to have Aquanet or one of the hairspray companies sponsor these flashbacks. Ay.
So much hair.
Yes. And so when it comes to reading what you put down there, anything particularly ring a bell or evoke some positive or not so positive memories?
I got to bring it up here because I'm blind. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know, George. I think your sped had to do with Michelle Accomando.
Aha. Okay.
I don't even remember what that was.
Yeah, I have a feeling that sped word made its way around.
I think that had to do with her. Of course, back then it was the long-haired boys and the 80s bands,
Yes.
That was about it. I'm trying to see what the whole, I don't even know what the whole is.
Yeah, so what's up with Trickster?
Oh, well, okay. So my cousins and I, my cousins that I grew up in Little Ferry, and we were big Trickster groupies.
So I'm having a blank. What kind of music? What was their deal?
So they were a garage band from Paramus that made it pretty big, not huge, but pretty big. They put a couple of albums out and stuff, and we were just like these groupies, and we would just go to every show and every concert that they had, and we would just follow them around everywhere.
How about that? Fun fact. Did not know about that, huh?
It was with my cousin Dina, who we're the same age. She's a little older than I am, and she grew up and she went to Paramus Catholic High School. She's probably 8 and bringing her up right now.
Okay. Well, that's right. So I can't control where the videos get disseminated after I post them. I'm share them just with our class. So yes, sharer beware, I suppose, when it comes to any sort of incriminating data that way. Mm-hmm. Now, what's up with The Hole?
I'm not sure. I honestly can't remember what The Hole is.
Huh. Yeah, that is not ringing a bell with me. But then again, you're not the only one. So don't be hard on yourself when it comes to, scratching your head on some of these things.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not sure what the whole is all about.
Go figure. Well, perhaps. Well, this is the beauty of having subsequent interviews that maybe someone can enlighten us over time here.
Yeah, got a long time
All
ago.
right. So, am I correct that that's you sitting down there in the purple, holding the orange balloon in the middle?
That is me.
Okay.
Trying to see. I'm not sure who's sitting next to me, but it looks like was that Kathy Vara
As
maybe?
just Kathy Vara, I believe. Yeah.
And Sean Delendia, she passed away.
I
Um,
know. I know. Yeah. I don't know if she's. Yeah. I don't know if she's the first of our class. She's the first that I'm aware of. Do
yeah.
you recall what her health battle was?
I want to say it was sudden. I think she may have had like an aneurysm, something just like real.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
It was sudden with her, which is the same. There's so many of our age
Mm,
that are gone.
right. Mm,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
next to me.
Well, as you all know, the fragility of our physical health, huh? You don't take for granted any part of that progression.
Not at all.
Mm,
Like
yeah, these group photos are interesting to kind of get in the mind of what folks were thinking. But yeah, certainly the small town feel was something that Lodi could hang its hat on.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So now we've got a couple candidates here. Oh yeah, come to think of it, I think Renee recently passed as well, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's the way as well. What's crazy with that is I had just gone to New Jersey to get one of her puppies because I'm a
Mm,
fan, and her dogs had a litter, and I had contacted her about it, and I was like, I'd love to have one of the puppies, and I drove to New Jersey and spent a couple days. Literally just got back from getting the puppy, and I don't even think it was a month later, and she passed away.
wow. Oh.
Yeah, crazy.
And do you recall what her
Um,
physical challenge was?
I know that she did have a lot of physical challenges with her
Mm,
back and things like that, with
yes.
surgeries, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Um, I'm not exactly sure though what
Right.
caused,
Mm,
you know.
mm,
But yeah, it was shocking. It was shocking.
yeah. Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, huh?
We were doing stuff for the yearbook, I think, in that picture.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that does. Everyone today has well, it's very easy to be an aspiring photographer with these, both between the phones and the big lenses. So, yeah, thanks for contributing to some of that skill that way. So, VP office assistant.
Yep.
Well, any recollection of that experience?
I think first period is when I worked in the Mr. John Darrow's office. Was first
Okay,
senior year. So just, doing paperwork, whatever it is that they would make you do.
got
Uh,
it. So, did Mr. Dondero rope you into any sort of good cop, bad cop routine when needed, or what?
I don't think so. Not that I can
Okay.
remember.
Well, that's good because, yeah, certainly that VP role, sometimes you got to be the heavy. So, depending on who you're working with, perhaps, considering how many females you have in the group there, perhaps there could be a softer, maybe more positive touch when it comes to helping folks get back on the straight and narrow.
Yep. Yeah. And I want to say it
Mm.
was first period. I remember when to do the VP office was first period for me.
Okay. So often it was the full period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Filling in where we can here. So another shot here. Any recollection of
I
this particular grouping or what?
don't know. Well, Melissa, of course, and
Yeah.
then Anne. I'm not sure who's behind me though.
Yeah. I don't want to mess with the tech here as far as the zooming, but I get Fran then on your outside.
Yeah. On the
It's
yearbook
interesting.
goes, I don't even know.
Right. Right. All right. So here's one of your class will moments here at the top.
Oh,
Gabby, always loving Patty Esposito and being known. Well, there you go, the trickster again.
yep, see. Oh God, it's hard to read. That's my eyes, Joe. I'm getting old.
No, I got to say, yeah,
Yeah,
this one is as much on my camera work. So yeah, no apology needed there.
if I can make it any. Wow.
So then you got a little vendetta to work with on this next page. You won't miss the one junior I hate the most.
See, and again, I'm not sure who it is.
Well, that's good because,
Oh, yeah.
I try to be very sensitive and I ask folks ahead of time, hey, are there any topics off limits? And I got to say, when I put this in the slideshow and you said go with it, I'm like, oh boy, this might be an interesting juncture of the interview.
Yep.
But then again, your memory loss in this particular juncture might serve you well.
Yeah, I guess I got over it, whatever the issue was.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, to not hang on to grudges certainly is a good thing. I've heard various versions of forgiveness being a process that sets someone free, and often you realize the person who's being set free is yourself. When it comes to the poison that retaining bitterness and resentment can be in your life. So yes, so let's make it a kudos to you moment then that you didn't hold on to this, whatever this grudge was.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
All right, so now we're going a little bit more contemporary here.
Yeah.
What's going on with your sis and mom here?
This was my sister's 50th birthday.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so we just had family over and stuff at my house, and just
Nice.
yeah, so that was her 50th birthday. So she's, like I said, 5 years older. We're all getting ready for 50. So
right, on the cusp.
she'll be 55 soon. So
Wow, how about it?
yeah.
Well, and so this will be a good juncture then to kind of let's do a little bridge work when it came to giving us a little bit of a sense of life after high school for you and what eventually led you down to Florida.
So life after high school, when obviously when we were in high school, things are different now. I say it all the time with like friends and stuff who have kids in high school, seniors and things like that. We had the option of going to college, not going to college, trade schools, whatever. I never took my SATs. I was never wanted to be like, I'm going to go to college. I was on the business path. I was going to go to Berkeley Business School. That's what I wanted to do. So after high school, that's what I did. And I absolutely hated it.
How about it?
I didn't like it. I made some great friends. I loved the people. I just did not like the school. I didn't like the classes, whatever it was that they were offering. I thought I was going. So I left there, and it took a while for me to figure out what I wanted to do. I was working full time, and then I decided just to go to Bergen, community college, get my associate's degree until I figured life out.
Right.
So I did go to, I went to Bergen and got my associate's degree, but I was working full time. And at that point, it almost became, working full time was more important than going on for the education. Working in the legal field, which I still do. You know what I mean? So it was basically, I was learning. I remember my boss, who was an attorney in Hackensack at the time, and he told me, everything you're going to learn right here. You're not going to learn in a classroom.
Amen to that. There's a lot to be said. And considering, I'm sure you've at least seen some of the stats of how much higher education has increased since our time relative to other things. And it's obscene. So, I got to say, there's probably quite a few people in our society who would do well to have followed your path when it comes to not necessarily assuming that college is the automatic given. When it comes to getting you ready for the real world.
So, but I finished, I finished and I got my associate's degree in marketing because I was like, well, I just get my degree. I have to have something. And I stayed in the legal field, and then I got burnt out and I didn't want to be in the legal field anymore. And I dabbled in a couple of other things, still corporate America. I was working for Donna Karen in New York. I was doing all this, corporate America stuff. Corporate America is not what it's, meant to be.
Yeah.
So then I went back into the legal field. And then I guess it was 2004. My parents decided that they wanted to buy a house in Florida. And my dad, health-wise was getting, not so great. And we pushed like, yep, go ahead, go do it. And my decided that she was going to come to Florida too. She was like, what's in Jersey? Nothing. I'm going to come to Florida too. I stayed.
How about it? So another episode for migration there, huh?
Yeah, I stayed back. I was like, no, I'm staying in Jersey. I have a job, and I was living in Clifton at the time, and
yeah,
roommates and girlfriends, and dating and whatever else, and then I started to miss my family, and then I was like, I really miss my family. What the hell am I doing? I missed my family. My dad, like I said, his health was not that great. He wasn't getting any better. And I was like, I'm moving. I sold everything. So left my job,
wow.
Came down to Florida. It took me about a month or so to find a job and do what I had to do. Just got back to the legal field.
Okay, great. And so how long has it been now that you've been in Florida?
I moved in the very end of 2007.
Okay, boy. So you're going on 15 years now.
So yeah, it was the very end of December. It was Christmas. I had Christmas in New Jersey with my cousin. My closing on my condo, and the very next day I got in the car and drove.
Wow. Which I got to say, for someone that has snowbird aspirations down the road, the thought of doing Thanksgiving to Christmas up this way where it's still cold is not bad. But boy, December 26th and on, let's get moving back to spring and summer in my book. So, good for you.
Yeah. So that's
in fact, that reminds me. When I was ready to do grad school, my nephew was just born at the end of April, and I was actually all set to go down to grad school down in Florida. But I got to say, the comparing a 2-hour drive to Metro Philly that I have now, up between here and Lodi area, versus a 2+ hour flight, I essentially made the opposite decision, where I decided to stay up in the Northeast and do grad school in Philly, and now I'm here 20 years later. As opposed to coming down to Florida and then being away from family. So, certainly I'd imagine the Sicilian blood is such that it is hard to make that, to make that break from being around family, huh?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I commend you for making the move. And so give us, well, actually, we'll keep going to the slideshow, and we'll do some more of the pros and cons of life in Florida versus life back in Lodi. So tell us about this crew here.
So this is my sister there. That is her. That's when she got married. She decided to go. I'm sorry. The tickle.
Yeah. I know, it always happens at the worst moments. I had it in church today, a big sneeze right during a time of silence. Oh, well.
Not to put this, the chemo that they have me on, it makes me very hoarse. And that also.
Oh, is that right?
So that also plays a big, but anyway.
Yeah.
It's the day that my sister decided to get married at the courthouse. She had my husband, Mark, over there in the blue shirt.
Okay.
And that's my mom in the middle. So that was the day that they decided to go, and after 12 years together, decide to go and get married.
How about that?
So that's what that picture is.
Right. Going a little spontaneous, huh?
My father was passed in 2008. So
yeah. And what were the final years like with Dad?
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got down here, like I said, the end of 2007.
Right.
And after that, they had put him on hospice.
Mm,
So I got about 6 months with him
okay.
by the time I had moved to Florida beforehand.
Right. Mm.
Yeah.
And what's life like for mom without your dad?
Well, my mom passed away last year as well.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah, passed away. Actually, yesterday was her 1 year anniversary.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
So not long after then, huh?
she was 88 years old. You know, she lived her
Wow.
wonderful life. You know, so
Yeah. Hey, amen. That's right. You know, it never fully replaces the thought of having them right for one more day, one more year.
right.
But it is a beautiful thing when you can look back and be grateful for having lived a full life, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Mm. All right. So tell us about this handsome fella.
That is my husband, Mark, who,
Yes.
yeah, I met him through a mutual, actually a friend of the family. He is friends with, sorry.
Yeah. Gabby, take all the time you need.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
My goodness. He is friends with a friend of the family.
Yeah.
So I met him through a friend of the family, just at a house party. And we
Okay.
could go and just started dating, and we're going to have our 5-year wedding anniversary next week.
Well, congratulations.
So he's good.
Now, when you think about married life 5 years in compared to married life for your parents, anything jump to mind when it comes to what's similar, what's different?
I'm kind of, although I hate to cook, unfortunately, for an Italian woman, and I admit it. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of old fashioned. I'm kind of the you know, I clean the house. I will do the cooking even though I hate it.
Right.
You know, where he's but he's, you know, a single father, so he knew how to take care of himself. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Expect me to do it all, even though I do. Like, because I just,
Right.
that's the role that my mom played. So that's the role that I want to play too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
But he-
isn't it really something, you know, one of the things that selfishly I'm wanting to get out of these interviews is, you know, a real recognition of the fact that I think all of us do some of those things very deliberately, you know, in terms of carrying on the good habits, you know, that we were actively or passively taught growing up,
Yeah.
but also being aware of the things that aren't necessarily automatically on the radar, but kind of come to light. You know, when you hear yourself sounding like one of your parents, or, you know, doing something your siblings, you know, would often do and you said you'd never do. You know, it's fascinating to kind of think about how, you know, your personality and habits evolve over time.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of my mother's habits. I'm a lot like her. My dad
Yeah.
was more of not timid, but my dad was more of a calm, you know, where my
Yeah.
mom was more of the, definitely the Sicilian Italian.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You can take the Sicilian out of Sicily, but you can't take the Sicily out of the Sicilian. I got you.
Yeah. So,
All right. So I love this shot you shared. Anything interesting
well,
when it comes to engagement and wedding and the aftermath?
um, we had planned a small wedding because that's what we had wanted. We had, you know, bigger ideas at this point. You
Yeah.
know, we're in our 40s, you know, getting married.
Yeah.
First wedding for me, and
Right.
we planned a small. And I decided that I wanted to get married September 10th because it's very meaningful to me. It was my parents' wedding anniversary.
Ah, cool.
That's something that I wanted to do for them. Well,
Hmm.
2017, when we were getting married, Irma decided to come through
Oh, boy.
and cancel everything. And
Ah,
my mother-in-law and my husband and my sister-in-law my husband's sister,
Yeah.
basically, you want to get married on September 10th, you're getting married on September 10th. And you recall this, but we did do a Facebook Live. We got married in the middle of our living room.
Oh, I think yeah, how about that?
Yeah, because so that is actually in my kitchen.
Oh my word, look at that. Well, I tell you, I love the woodwork going on there. So that's part of the improvisation, huh?
My mother-in-law basically threw me out of the house, and she basically like, you can't come back until tomorrow morning. And
Oh my goodness.
her and my sister-in-laws, and they just set up everything and had everything ready to go. And they were like, my cousin's husband, who was going to marry us live, he's a ordained minister. They had fled because they thought, oh, hurricane, we're leaving. And he married us through the iPad, through Zoom or however. It was a crazy moment. So yeah, we got married.
Hey, what a story, huh?
It is a story. That's what I tell people.
That's tremendous. So a little shot with your hubby and the stepkids.
Yeah, those are Giovanna, who's now 11, the little one there.
Yeah.
Ash, who's 17, are his children, of course. We were, of course, in New York.
I was going to say the heavy jacket tells me you're not in Florida anymore.
No, I had wanted to go. Every year, my family does what we call a cousin's Christmas, because nobody gets together as much anymore.
Right.
So they do like a big gathering with everybody before before Christmas, before the holidays.
Oh, I love it.
That one year I wanted to go, so we took the kids and we went up to New Jersey and did the cousin's Christmas, and took them to see the tree and all that stuff. They had never seen snow, and it snowed, so it was a good trip for them. It was a good time.
Right. Oh, that's tremendous. I love the cousins idea. It's something I've thought on more than one occasion should be regular as well.
You get older, everybody their life, and you can't all get together at the same time. Everybody's not together. So we started this years ago, where it was just, oh, let's go to a bar and get together. And then it turned into, let's go to somebody's house and everybody brings something. And then it turned into renting a space and having everybody come, so it's this big.
Love it. Well, and I guess considering that migration pattern of folks following suit and coming over, it's natural you're going to have plenty of cousins to do life together with.
Yes, I do have a big family.
Nice.
But this
I'm assuming this shot is back in Florida.
Yeah, this was in the Keys, I believe.
Okay. Love that water back there.
Yeah. So I think that was just, it was in the Keys, I want to say, not last year, maybe the year before. I think it was. Yeah. So that's me.
All right. That's right. Last shot with the partner in crime.
Still hanging on tight.
So, any recollection of what the venue was for this?
We were on a cruise, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They had a paralegal cruise that my boss had paid for me to go. And then, I was like, hey, come with me. And she was like, sure, why not? So she came with me on the cruise. And
nice. That's cool.
One of the cruises.
All right. Yeah, that's super. All right, so I'm gonna stop the share and get us back to.
And I'm sorry again about the coffin fit and the.
Oh, no worries.
Trying to.
All right, so bear with me. I
don't know how you
share. What's that?
I said I would have just disconnected us already if I had to do
that. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I don't hear you. You there?
Oh, how about now? You can hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So yeah, I'm gonna try to stop this screen share so we can get back to the regular I want to get back to regular mode here. Let's see. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so I see the video stopped as well, huh?
Yeah.
You hear me, but you don't see me right now, right?
See you as well. I don't see me. I don't know if I'm supposed to see me, but
Oh, I see. So in other words, you both hear me and see me right now.
I do.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I
All
can hear
right,
you.
so let's see if we can. I have safe driving mode ups, and I don't want safe drive. I don't need safe driving mode. So I just want to get us to a place where we can get back to the regular setup here. Okay. Well, I mean, certainly as I'm doing this, tell me more about how your friendship with Missy has evolved through the years since high school.
Um, well, of course, we were friends since 10 years old, going to church
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And her grandmother actually just lived around her from my house.
yeah,
So anytime she was ever at her grandmother's, she would, pedal on down or run on down, and we would always be playing together and stuff growing up with the church
nice.
and everything. And then, of course, graduation happens. And can you hear me, Joe?
Yes, I can.
It said it was, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're just getting the video to get straightened out here.
Okay. Graduation happened. She went off to college. She went to Jersey City. I was doing my thing. We still remained friends, but of course you kind of lose a little bit of touch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just because everybody's doing their own thing, making new friends, jobs, school, whatever the case may be. And
yeah,
I want to say, it may have been unfortunately after her mom passed away. Of course, that, going to her mom's wake and funeral where we kind of reconnected, like really reconnected.
Mm,
We've been, the best of friends ever since. She's out living in Ohio, but it's like she's literally around the corner. Anytime I need her, she's there for me, vice versa.
love it.
So we're talking about a friendship that's been going on for 40 years.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And friendship is not a given that way. So, when you have a good one, you hold on and you go through the hills and valleys together.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. As far as other connections, and I'm continuing to speak now, assuming that at least the audio is continuing, even if the video doesn't sync up here as far as how it's shaken out. But as far as any other connections with the Lodi crew, give us a sense of anyone else that you've kept contact with.
Well, Joe DeMolo literally lives 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Brian had mentioned in the last interview that he was down there. I was not aware of that.
Yes, he's he lives literally about 10 minutes from me. And you would think that
Nice.
I do, but I don't. But we do try and get together every so often, or I'll run into him or his wife, in the supermarket or whatever.
That's great.
Of course, I do see him.
Yeah.
There's really, not many people from high school that I have a strong connection with. Not to say that I didn't have a strong connection with them, but nothing that kind of continued through adulthood.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And and so where exactly are you in Florida?
So I live in a little town. It's called Edgewater, Florida, and it is about 20 minutes south, I guess, of Daytona, and about an hour south of Orlando.
Got it. Okay.
So the closest beach is New Smyrna Beach. Some people they vacation there.
Right.
That is, the area that I'm in. So it's central Florida. It's
Okay.
pretty much on the coast because we do have the beach.
Yeah.
Right in the center, in the middle of the state, Central Florida.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. And as far as where you find yourself in this season of life right now, tell us your story and your cancer battle and the ripple effect on the roles you're doing both inside your home and outside the home.
Well, so in 2021, I got diagnosed with cancer. We didn't really kind of know where it was stemming from, what it was. It's crazy how, we had just bought the house that we're in now, and we had just moved in, and I was working from home that Monday because I was having some furniture delivered, and I was like having like the worst back pain of my life. And I was like, man, like I've never experienced, we're getting old. We have back pain.
Yes.
You take a Tylenol, you move on.
Right. That's right.
It wasn't going away. And that evening, my husband was like, I've never seen you in this much pain. COVID is going on, there's just so much happening. And I'm like, I'll be fine. The next day I just to call a chiropractor friend of mine, and I'm like, look, can you see me? Because my back is just killing me. And when I see her, she was like, I don't really like what you're telling me. It doesn't sound like your normal backache. She thought maybe I had a kidney stone or there was something else going on. And she was like, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and send you for some testing, get some MRIs done, go from there.
Right.
But she's like, but I want you to go get them right now. She's like, I don't want you to wait. Lo and behold, I had 2 lesions on my lumbar spine. At that point, they knew that it was cancer, but now they had to find where was it coming from, because once cancer is on your bones, it's coming from somewhere else. You don't necessarily have a bone cancer. So I went through, Lord knows, tests, mammograms. They thought it was cancer being a woman, you know what I mean? And PET scans, and I can't even tell you the amount of stuff I went through. Well, they did the PET scan. They found that I had some tumors on my lung.
Wow.
So it's a metastatic lung cancer, which when you hear that, you think, what's bleeping. I never smoked a day in my life.
Right. Right. That's the natural assumption.
Right. How do I have lung cancer? And then the more I thought about it, and the more that I talked with, cousins and my sister and just friends and stuff, think about the time we grew up in. Think about where we grew up. You had smoking everywhere in the 80s. Everywhere you turned, there was smoking. The amount of pollution, if that's what you want to call it, that we had growing up in New Jersey and in New York, and the factories, and it's crazy how it could have stemmed from that. And my uncle basically told me that he has diagnosed more people that have never smoked with lung cancer than actual smokers.
Wow.
So that was in March of 2021. I went through my first round of chemotherapy. I went through radiation. They can't do surgery because at this point it's metastatic. So they can't do surgery, just say, hey, we're going to remove it. I was doing well, and then I had to start a second round of chemo in July again. Just had my last one. Hopefully.
Yes. Well, we'll be part of the prayer army to help that be the case.
So once now I just have to wait for the updated PET scan and all that, and then we'll see, where it's going. I was doing immunotherapy for a while.
Right.
It's a maintenance program that they have on, so we're hoping to be able just to get back to that, because I was feeling really good. when I was on the immunotherapy, my hair was growing back. I was
Right.
feeling, but along with the cancer, I had to have, 2 surgeries on my back because they
Mhm.
were spine collapsing. And then in January, because of my spine, I lost my balance and wound up breaking my shoulder and having to have a
Wow.
replacement. It's
Mm.
it's just been a hell of a nightmare, But
Wow.
you know what I mean, and I have to be thankful.
Mm.
So
Right. Oh, Gabby, that is not for the faint of heart to have to endure. And as you said,
yeah,
disease and suffering is never easy, right?
no,
But when it comes out of nowhere, there's a certain, frustration element that comes with that as well.
yeah.
And um,
Sorry, go ahead.
in terms of outlook on life and how you're finding yourself grappling with the implications for your family life and work life. Give us a sense of how you've navigated those inevitable ups and downs.
Well, when I first got diagnosed, my first thought or my first words to my husband, to my boss, I've been working for the same law firm for 12 years. So they're like my family.
Mm.
And I told them, if you guys want me to survive and you guys want me to get through this, you have to let me work. Do not make me sit.
Mm.
Just let me come to work. Let me do what I got to do. And they were like, whatever, you do what you need to do. And I continued to work. I worked full time. I worked around my treatments. I worked around radiation. I worked around doctor's appointments and went to work every day.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah.
that's great.
But
Yes, right.
however, in January, once I had the back-to-back back surgeries, and then I broke my shoulder and had to have that. I was tired. I'm exhausted. I can't do this anymore. So in speaking with my husband, and of course, just getting his opinion and talking to the doctors, I finally did make the decision to go out on disability.
Mm.
But working part-time because I'm not ready to completely sit home and do nothing.
Right.
So I am still working on a part-time level.
Got it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I'm glad you're able to do that. I've alluded to this in my interview with Brian and several others, I believe. Being in the financial planning world, boy, it's very difficult for folks to go from full-time pedal to the metal work to being
Yeah.
completely workless in their life. And there is a lot to be said, about the sense of value that comes when you're bringing value to others. It brings meaning to yourself. And so to have some level of routine and to feel like you're, having an impact on people through the quality of your service, that's a tangible value and something to be cherished in life. So I'm glad you're able to do that even on a part-time basis.
And it keeps your mind off of things a little bit too. Sometimes
Sure.
it just is a change of scenery. It's not being home. It's going into an office. It's
Right.
socializing with coworkers and clients,
Yes.
and whoever is coming your way, even if it
Yeah.
isn't, you know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Because I mean, in fact, I was just talking to someone at church over coffee this morning, talking about, the difference of being fully remote versus having at least some semblance of connection with your work team. And I got to say, it's apples and oranges. Remote work is wonderful to a point, from my vantage point.
Yeah.
But now being back in an office, you can't underestimate the camaraderie and some of the water cooler type talk that happens, as you're rubbing shoulders with folks, on a regular basis that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And from a family life standpoint, how are you navigating and transitioning there?
We're good. Like I said, my husband, he has 2 children,
Yep.
Asher is 17,
Right.
senior high school, and Giovanna's going to be 11. She's just started 5th grade.
Right.
The teenagers are tough. It's not that we don't have
Mhm.
a relationship with Asher, but he's a teenage boy.
Yes. Yeah.
We want more for him out of life than he wants for himself. So it does,
Mhm.
it, causes friction and stuff. We don't really see him too much. He's with his mom a
Mm.
lot.
Okay.
Giovanna,
So his mom, I'd imagine, is local to you then?
yes.
Okay.
They are local. He's a 17, going to be 18, and you can't, I don't know. I say this all the time. I just don't understand youth today. And kids, I'm like, I just don't
Yeah.
remember doing that. I'm like, as a teenager.
But, yeah. It's so funny. It has me thinking. So last night, we took advantage of there was like a national cinema day nationwide, where they had $3 movie tickets to any type of movie, any venue or whatever. So my wife and I jumped on the occasion to watch Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
That so many folks had talked about and raved about, being a real throwback to the original. And boy, sure enough, it was tremendous. It was dude, great storytelling. And what impressed me was, while there definitely was sentimentality to the first movie, they were able to make a very compelling story without the need to make, the love story like super gratuitous, right, and explicit, and no language. It was a real, it was a movie that you could take your teens confidently to, and at least theoretically, have them enjoy it, as a great, feel good movie. Of course, to your point earlier, Gabby, we've tried to talk our kids into watching the original and then coming, to see the sequel. We haven't succeeded yet. So yes, there is a little bit of a generational gap for us to emerge with our teens, huh?
It is. It's tough because, like you said, you just want that. You want what's best for them, and
Yes.
they just think that, not to give away his, he hates school. You know what I mean? And he's just lucky if he's going to graduate. You know what I mean? And you want that, but it's when it's one-sided and you want it and they don't, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, and to impress upon them that, listen, well, kind of like with your story, Gabby, where you thankfully had the ability to have some real world experience, then shaped the way you decided to eventually and finish up your college degree. And the fact is that that there's lots of ways to go ahead and live a meaningful and fruitful life. That doesn't necessarily have to be a cookie cutter formula to how you get there.
But there's so many options now, even with these, you got trade schools,
That's right.
Here in Florida, especially, we have the lineman schools like crazy because, all the linemen and the work. We have firefighter schools, and they do things differently here with that kind of stuff, like police departments. They're all paid here, and up in most of the New Jersey ones, and unless you're in a big city, you volunteer.
That's right.
All paid. There's so many different options for these kids, but they just don't get it. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, the other challenge, of course, is to impress upon them that, listen, it's character first, right?
Yeah.
Then hopefully character that leads to competency in something where you're being productive and meaningful life at home and on the workplace. And the fact is, whether it's blue collar, white collar, whether it's similar to what your folks did or not, or what have you, at the end of the day, so long as there's forward progress, if you will, and not not living in this sea of meaninglessness, that on the one hand, the youth talk about wanting to have a greater impact on the world on the one hand. On the other hand, the allure of the screen, and the screen zombie temptation these days, right? Often gets in the way, of having balance in life where you're making meaningful choices and, hopefully, heading in a purposeful direction.
Right. Then my stepdaughter, she's completely different because she's, like I said, she's going to be 11. She just started fifth
Yeah.
grade. She wants to be a veterinarian. That's all she ever says. She's an animal lover. And, we tell her schooling, it's going to be a lot of schooling. And she's like, I want to get straight A's and I want to make sure that I do good. And so she's definitely, I tell my husband all the time, you just wait till she's 16 because
Oh boy.
she's toughy, you know what I mean? And she's going to be,
Right.
gone and out and you're never going to see her again, but
Yes.
at least she's got some goals,
Yes. Yeah. Well, and hey, I think God has a sense of humor when it comes to how, the same kids from a similar background can be wildly different, and the challenge that poses as parents, in terms of, a wise person once said, you love them the same by loving them differently.
Correct.
And knowing that every one of us have a different ratio of attaboys and attagirls kicking the pants. Both of those things can be done in a loving way, but it's a sensitivity, to knowing to meet them where they are.
I even look at my sister and myself. I mean, we're very opposite. Yeah. We grew up in the same household, the same parents, the same family. I'm one way and she's another way. Everybody's personality is their own, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just with these kids today, that, like I say, sometimes I just shake my head. Sorry, the dog's coming to bother me.
Your dog is trying to be amen corner for you there.
Yeah.
Trying to validate you. Well, speaking of your sister, give us a sense of how that relationship has evolved over the years.
It was just the two of us, like I said, 5 years apart. We grew up very close together. You know how Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
My family, my cousins are like my siblings, you know what I mean? Like, so my sister and I did grow up very close. A lot of time spent together. We were, friends. And there was a point in time when I first moved here that we kind of were at each other's throats a little bit, you know what I mean?
How about it?
Yeah, because it was kind of, she had this feeling of, especially with my dad being sick, she had this feeling of, well, I was in New Jersey and I didn't see the last couple years with him and how he was doing until I came, and so we kind of had a little bit of a hard time getting to the point that we are at now. Just because people are different, you know what I mean? But we actually have a really good relationship. I say this, and she drives me crazy, but I would jump in front of a bus for her, you know what I mean?
Right.
Take a bullet for her.
Right.
But she drives me nuts. But in the same sentence with me, I can call her up in a heartbeat because I'm not feeling well. And thankfully enough, she lives 5 seconds away. She literally is like the next street over, and she's here in a heartbeat.
Right. Count your blessings there. That's not a given. And when you have it, so sometimes the blood is thicker than water, phrase can be used in a negative way, but boy, when you have that loyalty and you lean on each other, mutually, it's a beautiful thing.
And there's so many people who don't have any relationship at all with their family member at all. Right.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not to be taken for granted. I can remember one of my counseling profs, every once in a while you'll hear in a classroom or in some sort of setting a statement that just hits you between the eyes. And he once said, if you ever wanted to get a sense of where you stand as far as self-contentment, and if you happen to be someone of faith, your contentment and security and how God sees you, he said, here's a simple test. Think of the worst human relationship in your life. And as you reflect on that relationship, that will probably give you a sense of how much inner peace you have yourself. Certainly, as you said, people will sometimes drive us nuts, and although we know the difference when it comes from people who love and care for us, despite some of those differences, and people for which we might have grudges or, unresolved differences, and sometimes irreconcilable ones.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, ultimately, all we have control of is our side of the equation, right? That as we see people, hopefully, as fellow humans that are stumbling and fumbling our way through and trying our best to live, virtuous and decent lives, we can be at peace, knowing that we're at least doing our part of the relationship, when it comes to, not letting others dictate and shape who we are in an unhealthy way.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so as we're now on the cusp of 50, I've been asking this question of everyone in terms of, getting a sense of, what life looks like on the other side. And of course, I don't need to tell you that that's an ever evolving daily perspective, right? That, none of us are promised X number of years. But, as you're approaching 50, can you give us a sense of anything going through your mind actively, or things that you're looking forward to bucket list wise, or so on?
I just, with me unfortunately being sick and having the cancer and the diagnosis of cancer and fighting it, I always just say that if I can make it to 50, I will be, you know what I mean? And I'll enjoy every second of it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I pretty much say, my mother always used to say, if you put 2 feet on the floor in the morning, you're going to have a good day,
Amen.
So,
Well said.
yeah, I always try and just stick to that. So if I can make it to 50, I'm going to enjoy 50. At this point in my life, I have to.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where does 50 fall for you on the calendar?
January, I will be 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. My wife has a January birthday as well. Kind of a fresh start to the new year then, huh?
Yeah. That's right at the end of January, but right at the beginning of. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's great. And when it comes to being able to think about, for however long the good Lord gives you down the road, give us a sense of, any kind of vision for what the, what the final stages of life look like for you. Any sense of things like retirement, or things you're wanting to do as you as you transition.
I definitely feel like I need to try and travel more than I do. Like, that's why I said Italy for me is something that I definitely, for sure. For me, I feel like I'm almost already there, but I'm still, my husband and I say this all the time. He's a big, he's born in Miami. He's a born bred Florida boy. People they think definitely, country boy, which he is, but he's very, very, growing up in Miami, he's very cultured,
Right.
We talk about, and I love, my mother-in-law is just bought a house in Tennessee, and my sister-in-law lives in Tennessee. And when I go, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh boy. I've had multiple friends and family either live down there and visit, and they do sing the praises of that scene down there.
It is a beautiful state, Tennessee. And I say, if we were to leave Florida to go anywhere, it would definitely be Tennessee.
Nice.
So if retirement comes for us, whenever it does come for us, that's probably not. I know that.
If I may, what does your husband do professionally, and what does that look like as far as what the next stages look like for him?
Well, he's a tree business. That's what we've been doing for years and years and years.
Right.
We are trying to get him out of it, though.
Oh, is that right?
To some other things, because he's getting older and tired.
I tell you, that work is no joke. We had a couple of trees taken out recently, and boy, that is some Iron Man type work for sure.
It is. And just dealing with people and trying to keep a business going, it's a lot. Definitely looking
Yes.
at other options for them for the future.
Okay.
Mhm.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, that sounds like a great plan. As far as what marriage and parenting has looked like together, anything particularly come to mind as you're learning the dance over or through the years and the seasons of life?
So I'm sorry, that was the marriage and what I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So as far as marriage and parenting, as we've
Okay.
talked about the teenage years, for example. How has your relationship evolved through those ups and downs?
Look at where we are. We're going to be married 5 years. Like I said, next week is our
Yeah.
anniversary, and
Right.
been dealing with cancer for a year and a half. And I have to say, those vows of and in health, he took them and he meant, you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
he's been nothing but phenomenal during the,
Oh, that's wonderful. Mm.
yeah, I have to,
Hey, yeah, it's and listen, suffering is never easy. I've had both my father-in-law and mom pass from cancer, and the marathon twists and turns that come with it. But while you never would want that for someone else, having
no,
loving, supportive family around you is a world of difference.
yes, it is definitely. I mean, I don't have too
Yeah.
much here. Most of my family is still in New Jersey. I mean, I have family in Arizona, I have family in Pennsylvania, we got family everywhere. But the little support team that I do have here in Florida is what keeps me going for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, try as we might sometimes to do the Lone Ranger bit. The fact
Yeah.
is, we were all hardwired to live in community, and I firmly believe that the quality of life is measured in the quality of relationships. And when you think of it that way, boy, there's no greater value and joy than appreciating those that you love and care, hopefully mutually with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, hey, as we're kind of bringing this to a close here, I'll often ask at the end, if we had a billboard for you, Route 46 or Route 80, Route 17, to be able to, promote a message either to our fellow alums or to the greater Northern Jersey, Bergen County area, what sort of messages or mantras kind of are most meaningful to you that you'd want to convey?
I just to never have any regrets at all. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And if you do have a regret, try and figure out how to work around, that regret and why you do have it. Definitely. Because
mm,
you do things differently in life a little bit, and then you get to the point where you're like, okay, I got this figured out now. This is what life is supposed to be for me and what direction I need to take it in. But sometimes it takes us a little longer to get there. It's not very cut and dry for a lot of people sometimes. So,
mm.
if the wrong thing happens, don't regret it. Move on, move forward,
Right,
So
right. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, the
yeah.
fact is, life does not unfold the way you think it will on many occasions. So the flexibility to adapt, yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Gabby, this was wonderful.
I
Thanks for your willingness to share. And when someone is going through a season and a challenge like you are, sometimes the temptation is to pass, and to not, be willing to ask. But I'm so grateful that you're willing to share, because the fact is, it's not a matter of when challenge comes, I mean, if the challenge comes, but when challenge comes,
Mm.
for all of us, and, try as we might to resist the temptation to compare ourselves to others. And, you are among several people who have said, well, my life isn't exactly exciting, when it comes
Yeah.
to thinking about the value of doing a
Yeah.
time like this. But, at the end of the day, I think we all are much more the same than we are different. And I think we hopefully take some good encouragement and some laughter and some perspective, when it comes to living a life that matters.
That's what I just say. Like, we're just a typical average, family. That's it. There's nothing
Right.
exciting, so to speak, if or whatever. We're not, like in magazines or, these whatever you want to do, but
The lifestyles of the rich and the famous back in the day, right?
Yep. But you know, we're living life. I am enjoying it as much as I possibly can right now with my physical ability, as if that's what I want to call it. You know what I mean? But,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And like I said, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with you as you know, fight the good fight. And yeah, kudos for you. You know, kudos to you when it comes to still living in the moment, right? And knowing that there is life to be had with each day. As your dear mama told you, to get that feet on the ground and
You can't give up.
embrace the day as it comes. So that's a beautiful thing. Well, Gabby, have a wonderful day and blessings to you as you're on the cusp of 50 in a few short months here. And yeah, continue to be the overcomer that you're being here.
What about you? When's 50 for you?
Yeah, 50 is not until next April for me. So a couple of months after you. And yeah, it turns out my son turns 18 and my daughter turns 16 the same year. So yeah, kind of a momentous year coming up. And well, yeah, as you said, you know, wanting to not take for granted anything, you know, moving forward beyond that. And you know, trying to be as fully present here and not look too far back or too far ahead to, you know, enjoy life as God gives it.
That's it. You got to take it as it comes and know what to do.
Well, as we say, an abbraccio, you know, in Italian, hugs to you down in Florida. And sogni d'oro, as my mom would often say, dreams of gold, you know, as you do your best to live a life of purpose here.
Absolutely, Joe. Well, thank you. I enjoyed this a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Glad to have you, and hope our classmates will likewise be encouraged and enjoy our time together.
Yeah. Thanks for having your
people,
my people.
You got it. A happy Labor Day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.